I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm still learning how to use this camera. I was gonna call it a new camera. I guess it's not all that new anymore for me because I've had it for so long, but I guess I'm just trying to figure it out still. So bear with me here with all of the changes and trying to figure things out and the occasional quality being bad and everything, but we're working on it. We're trying to figure it out. I'm all self-taught here, so just bear with me. Today we are talking about 12 different habits that I do and that I have found very useful in my life as a neuroscience major. So a lot of these are things that I learned or have been kind of backed by science. And some of them are just things that, they make sense, and I have kind of learned it for my own well-being, so you can kind of tailor that to your own needs. And I just want to, before I get into any of these, make a disclaimer that no, I am not a medical professional. I am not a neuroscientist. I am studying neuroscience in college, so all of this is stuff that I am just currently learning and stuff that I want to share with you all. So I have a little list here and I want to go in order. And number one is making sure that you are getting enough sleep every night, which means 8 to 10 hours for adults. I want to start the sleep discussion with it is different for everyone. Now, it's recommended that you get 8 to 10 hours of sleep. On the other hand, my adopted dad actually has gone into a sleep professional before and found out that his brain, his body actually only needs I think 4 to 5 hours of sleep, which is like everyone's dream, Imagine how much you could do with so much more time. So everyone is different. Some people just don't need as much sleep. That part I don't quite understand. But it is recommended that if you can, to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night. And this is because sleeping can be so important for memory, for being able to process things, reaction times, being able to solve problems. Like when you are asleep, your brain is actively solving problems throughout the day. It is crazy to me how much sleep can solve your problems. It is wild. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you are actually hurting your brain, and it's going to it's taking a toll on your brain. Think about it like the same as physical exercises, right? When you are not taking care of yourself and giving yourself the chance to continue, your body deteriorates. Your body starts to not work or not function as well. Or think about it also as something like flexibility. If you are constantly exercising, doing stretches, things like that, you're going to continue to get better. But if you're not, then it's gonna get worse. Your sleep is kind of like the stretching, allowing your brain to just, you're not just resting. Your brain is actively working on fixing things throughout the day, working on solving problems. It's incredible to me. So number 2 goes along with that, and it's that you want to be sleeping at consistent times every night. Now, this is partly brain and partly just routine, but having consistent sleep schedules is going to continue to allow your brain to be able to do that relaxing, to be able to actually process what it needs to. So if you're, getting sleep for 4 hours one day, but 10 hours the next day, it's not enough for your brain. Your brain needs to get into the habit of being able to do this. It needs to be able to practice that. And also, the best thing is really to try and have consistent sleep times too. So I try to go to sleep around 9 and 10 and wake up around 6 or 7 because I know that works better for me. And being able to have a routine for your brain is really important, and it allows you to kind of just settle into things, right? Life is going so crazy around us. We don't need to have something as simple as sleep being crazy too. We don't want to be making our brains guess when the next moment is, when we're actually going to get the rest. And it's also helpful for you as well, because having a routine set for this is the time I go to bed, this is the time I wake up, allows you to stay consistent on it as well. You want to open your shades when you wake up. If you can go outside, even better. I live in an apartment. I do have a balcony, but I also live in Minnesota. So do I really want to go outside in the winter right away when I wake up? Let's be honest, no. But opening the shades and making sure that you're getting sun right when you wake up. The sun is really good for mood boosting. It does two things for your brain. First, it's going to boost your mood, and I could get into like the specific stuff about the brain, but I want to keep this in as simple terms as I can, because I think that that's something that is a struggle for me sometimes when I hear people who are, studying something or are professionals talking about something, is they don't put it in words that I can fully grab that concept. So I want to be able to put this in as basic terms as I can, right? So basically what it is that your brain is able to kind of like, the sun signals that, hey, it's the beginning of the day for me, and it's good for your mood. It's going to give you the happy chemicals of your brain, and being able to see right away in the morning, oh, here's some sun, or as soon as the sun comes up, if you deal with that, like some of us here. But as soon as the sun comes up, being able to kind of see that, and it signals to your brain that like, this is the time when the day is starting. So the sun, and just like light in general, has blue light in it. And most people have probably heard of blue light at this point, because our phones often block blue light, or do their best to block blue light when it gets to be around nighttime. When you see blue light blocking glasses, they are blocking the blue light from your eyes. And actually, the sun has blue light in it, and having blue light during the day is not a bad thing. In fact, it's actually really good, because it signals to your brain that it's time to be awake and it's time to be active. The trick is that you don't want to have blue light before going to bed, because then your brain is going to continue to stay active. It's going to continue to try and like, oh, it's time to be doing stuff, and it makes falling asleep a lot more difficult. So that is why the phones have I don't know about all phones, but I know for my iPhone, it has an automatic, like at a certain time, like maybe 7 or before sundown or something, it actually turns on that blue light blocking, and basically slowly reduces the amount of blue light that is going into your eyes, and is able to kind of help you get ready for bed. Now, you cannot, it's not blocking all of the blue light. There is still blue light there, but it does an effort to kind of reduce that. And so that's why I'll actually sometimes wear my blue light blocking glasses before bed if I'm doing stuff, because it also, sometimes I have to be on my computer before bed. Sometimes that's just what it is. So I'll wear these little guys. You see, it reflects the blue light off of it, because it's blocking it from the other side. So if I actually look at this, it's it gives it almost a little bit of a yellow tint. And it actually is blocking that light, or reducing that light, and will help you go to bed a little bit better. But I also have another pair of glasses, and this just kind of as a side note, but I do think it's important. I have another pair of glasses that's not blue light blocking, and I did this because a year ago, I was having a lot of issues. Whenever I'd wear my glasses, I would feel really tired and just foggy, and I needed to fall asleep all day long. And I figured maybe it's just because I'm not used to wearing glasses very often anymore. And I actually did a lot of research on it, and I found out that because they were blue light blocking, having a blue light blocking pair of glasses that you're wearing during the day can make you sleepy, because it's preventing that blue light from coming into your eyes. And the blue light is what signals to your brain that it's time to be awake, it's time to be active. So sometimes, not everyone's going to notice this, but at least for me, I noticed it a lot. I think probably because I hadn't been wearing blue light blocking lenses for a long time. I was just wearing my contacts. So I noticed the difference pretty quickly. But when I was wearing my blue light blocking lenses during the day, I did not have as much energy, because my brain was confused. Wait a second, there's sun out and we're getting some blue light, but we're not getting enough, or we're not getting as much as we usually do. Is it bedtime, or is it time to be awake and active? We don't know. So I actually switched to a pair that does not have blue light blocking and then a pair that does. So I wear the pair that does at night, or like, when I'm wanting to kind of calm down, rest a little bit, and I wear the other one during the day because it helps me actually stay active, and it has been huge for me. So that's, I don't know, something that I thought was really interesting. Number 3 is not having your phone by your bed. Also goes along with this, not doing stressful work in your room. So right now I'm doing this recording in my room. I try my best not to, because sometimes, even though it's not stressful, it is work. So I don't always like to do work in my room, but what happens, right? Like sometimes I just have to. I can't be in the main area right now and just expect that no one's going to come in or do something right now. So I am in my room, and I have, just really put the intention in there to be as calm with it as I can. So the reason for this is, and with the phone, is you want your room to be a place of calming nature, right? Your brain is a creature, a thing of habit, okay? And so having the habit of, when you're in your room, like having this habit of having a calm, safe space is going to allow your brain to relax more. So, right next to my bed here, I want my bed to be a place of rest. And so I don't want to be in here being stressed, because I want my brain to be able to associate it with stress. Fun fact, I actually, at my room at home, at my parents' house, I told my parents I want them to redesign it so I don't recognize it anymore, because I had a lot of really difficult scenarios when I was in my senior year of high school, to the point where it was hard for me to come home and visit sometimes because of how much stress I felt, because I see these things that remind me of the stress. Or again, brain being a creature of habit, it was sometimes hard to fall asleep because I felt stress just being in that room. So we're actually changing it up. I'm letting my parents turn it into a guest room or an office or whatever it is that they want, because I want to kind of redefine what I associate that room with. So that's the first aspect as to why I don't like to have my phone or just things going on in my room. But the other aspect is your phone, again, has blue light. So maybe try just to be off your phone before bed. But again, I get it. That doesn't always happen. But your phone is also a place where you get distracted. I get distracted on my phone all the time. And so being able to spend the night and the morning. For the night, I like to have my phone away for a while before I go to bed. But in the morning, it is really hard for me to not get on my phone right away. So I have at least kind of changed it so I have to at least get out of bed in order to get on my phone. And this is because you don't want to be checking social media immediately in the morning. That is my huge thing. Checking social media, checking emails, just checking to see what's on your phone, because it trains your brain to constantly continue checking. Your brain, like I said, is a thing of habit, right? So if you start your morning looking at social media, it's going to set you up for the rest of the day to feel like you need to be looking at social media. And being able to start the day without that, or end the day without that, is able to train your brain that hey, there are other things to do, or it doesn't have to be the first thing you go at. Another point to note here is that your brain has, you are in different brain waves when you wake up, right before you go to bed. And your brain is, I want to say, a little bit more susceptible to change, susceptible to being able to just it's almost more malleable. That's not the right word for it, but it's more plastic. Basically, brain plasticity is that your brain is able to change. It is able to redirect itself. It's able to just change a lot more, a lot easier. And so your brain is more plastic right before you go to bed and right before you wake up, which means it's going to be more susceptible to those changes, to those patterns. And because it is so full of habits, if you start the day with the habit of checking social media, social media is often going to come up with comparison or just that stress of work or life right away in the morning. And you want to really start the day when your brain is most plastic, most susceptible to the whatever, you start your day with a good intention, with something like, waking up and doing gratitude, waking up and just noticing different things. And you're able to kind of set that intention for the rest of the day. So on that note, you want to be doing things like deep breathing, gratitude, meditation, yoga, exercising, things that are good for your brain and your body, just really doing mindful things. That can be journaling, even reading sometimes, just things that are offline, and doing mindful things for your brain, because it gives it a chance to be a little bit more offline. It gives it a chance to really focus on yourself, pay attention to what you're feeling. And the more you are able to understand and be in tune with yourself, the more you're able to pay attention to your habits, your everyday life, your thought processes. And if you're in tune with yourself and you are able to continue working on that, it makes you a happier person. And it makes life a lot more satisfying. A lot of why we don't feel happy, beside mental health conditions, is because of things like comparison, external stress, external things. So when you guide yourself to do more internal practices, you're able to allow your brain to rest and to be able to have that gratitude, have those positive scenarios, because you can't control what's going on around you, but you can control what's going on internally. You can control your response to things. Number 5, something that I love to do is when I'm not feeling in the right mood, I put on music. So music uses a different portion of your brain, and it can help stimulate that portion of your brain. If you're not feeling good, music can stimulate a different portion of your brain and impact your emotions. Sometimes you just need a little bit of a kick, a little bit of a nudge to just move in the right direction. And I think we've all probably felt how music is so powerful in our emotions, and it is able to really impact that. So when I'm feeling down, I like to listen to music that just feels like a hug, or when I'm feeling energetic, I like to listen to music that's energetic because it makes me feel more energetic, more excited. When I'm feeling sad, sometimes I'll listen to music. I'll start with listening. I actually have a playlist that's like, it starts out very sad and it slowly turns into more positive, happier music, because sometimes if I listen to happy music right away when I'm sad, it shocks me a little bit, and it just actually makes me feel like, I don't like this, like I'm not feeling that way. Why am I? So sometimes I'll almost trick my brain into slowly getting back into that, because I'm starting to get used to hearing the music. That could just be like a sensory thing for me, but good for your brain. And there are so many studies on the way that music impacts your brain. It is like a whole other aspect. It is so interesting. Number 6, no caffeine in the morning. A lot of people are going to be disappointed on this, so just hear me out before you decide to click away from this. Caffeine stimulates your dopamine receptors. So caffeine gives you a kick of dopamine, basically. That is why a lot of times when people drink caffeine, they feel more energized, stimulated, ready to go for the day, which is great, right? What I suggest, and this is a lot due to personal opinion, but I do believe that it has aspects of neuroscience that can help explain it, right? But this really is due to personal opinion. I've seen some people say, other things. I've seen this, I've seen that. What I have found that works for me, I'm not saying that this is going to work for everyone, but I found that what works best for me is to limit the caffeine that I have in the morning. Now, I already cannot have caffeine in coffee, and this is because Coffee does not have something called L-theanine in the chemical makeup. And tea, on the other hand, and other forms of caffeine often have L-theanine in it. And L-theanine stops the onset of caffeine. So when you drink tea, the L-theanine is there and it allows it to be a very steady amount of caffeine, of energy throughout the day. Whereas with coffee, it is a spike and a little bit more of a shock to your system. Now, for me, I can take one sip of coffee and within 5 minutes tell you if it is caffeinated or not, because I can feel the effects right away. My body does not process it well. With tea, I can drink tea all day long and almost probably 99% of the time I am fine. I have drank an entire matcha right before bed before and slept through the night perfectly. I don't know if that's something I should be proud of or not. But what I suggest in terms of this is, again, your body, your brain, is very habitual. So if you are starting the day with caffeine, your body is going to expect, your brain is often going to expect that amount of dopamine throughout the day. And it can also lead to a little bit more anxiety and stress if you haven't eaten because you process the caffeine differently. So my suggestion is that if you're having caffeine in the morning, to have it with L-theanine. So for some people, this means mixing coffee and matcha. I have seen that before. Em on the Brain is she's an incredible neuroscientist and has talked about that before and can go much more in depth on the reasons behind it and everything. But being able to just stop that onset a little bit, first off, it's going to make you feel energized for longer in the day. And second, it's going to maybe not shock your system as much, but it's still going to satisfy that need for caffeine, because let's be honest, some of us have caffeine addictions. I probably do too. And kind of going similar to this, the next one is to not start the day with sugar. Again, not start the day right away with sugar. The first thing I eat, the first thing I put into my body, I try to not have it be sugar of any sort, unless it's like fruit or something, right? Because sugar is something that, again, stimulates that dopamine for us. And it's like a reward. It's like this reward system. Sugar is definitely like reward for our bodies. And so if you start the day with that reward, you're going to feel like you need to continue to have that reward throughout the day. You're going to need that sugar throughout the day. You're going to predetermine how your brain is looking for sugar. It's going to continue to want more sugar throughout the day. And like I said, in the morning, in the morning, a lot of what you do predetermines how you're going to feel the rest of the day, because your brain is in a different state in the morning. So being able to just be really conscious about a morning routine or habits is I in some ways argue that a morning routine could be even more efficient than a night routine, although in other ways I would argue the opposite, so I won't even get into that. But really just having, I think a night routine is really important. I think that morning habits are really important, or breaking other habits are really important in the morning, because it does really predetermine what the rest of the day, just how your brain is going to process things or want things. And then the last one about food is just to make sure that you're eating foods that are healthy. There are specific brain foods that are better for you, specific foods that are really, really good for your brain. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm not going to give you a bunch of things that you have to be eating, right? Honestly, really just eating healthy. Again, your brain is a part of your body. If you are taking care of it consciously every day, when you get older, you are going to have a healthier brain. If you are giving it junk food, if you are giving it food that is not nourishing it, you're not going to be able to continue to grow and process things in that brain, right? Really just eating natural foods, eating healthy foods is good for you, because it allows your brain to continue to change, to grow. It allows your brain to process things better. It's good for memory, all of these different things that it is really good for. So being conscientious about that. Will I probably be eating chips after this episode? Yes, I will. I love my junk food. I will not say, like, I cannot lie and say that I never eat junk food, right? But to make sure that your main, at least 2 meals of the day, the majority of what you eat is things that are really good for you, good for your body just in general, because if it's good for your body, it's going to be good for your brain. And if you're continuing to nourish your brain, when you continue to grow later in life, your brain is going to be healthier, your memory is going to be better, and you're just going to be able to, last. You're going to be able to do really well, right? The brain is such an important part of our body, and so it's really important that we take care of it, and food is one of those really, really important parts of it. The next habit is to make sure that you are able to share things in terms of what's going on in life. So being able to share things on what's going on in life is a way that you are able to be vulnerable. And like I said, the brain is full of habits. So by being able to share the things that you are struggling with other people, you are able to, in a way, process it better for yourself. Being able to talk out loud about what it is that you're feeling allows you to be more in tune with yourself too. And the more that you're in tune with yourself, the more that you're going to notice that as time goes on. But you want to be really careful to not overshare. So one way that I think of the brain, and this is something that my mom told me years and years ago when I had pandas, which isn't actually that long ago, 5 years ago when I had pandas, was that she thinks of the brain as a wagon that's going through a bunch of muddy dirt stuff, right? It's going through on a path, and it's a path that thousands of people have gone through before, right? This path is very clear. You know, when you're like walking in the woods or something and you can tell where the path is, but it's like kind of like, wait, did someone actually make this path, or is it just that people have walked over it a million times and it just kind of like everything died and it's just a clear path, right? Same thing with like a wagon, like it digs into the dirt, and the more people that go on, it's the more there's going to be little ridges, and the wagon is just naturally going to go through that area. So if you want to change that, it is really hard to get past that and to go in a different route, because this path is already there, and to change it, you have to like force it to actually get out of those ridges and go to a different path. And that is the way that I think of the brain, because that path that is already there are our current habits. And if you want to change a habit, you have to go into a different path. So by oversharing, it causes you to have the habit of continuing to overshare. And it also causes this need for other people's opinions and thoughts without consciously noticing it. I want to be clear on this. This is not something that you are consciously noticing or purposefully trying to do. But it can form, and often does, this idea that you need other people's opinions and thoughts in order to make a decision for yourself. You end up really needing to rely on other people, and it's harder to do things for yourself or make decisions for yourself. And the more that you overshare, the more that you're going to feel that you need that. So it's important to be able to, yes, get opinions from other people, but it's also important to be able to make decisions for your own, for yourself, to be able to do things on your own. And so that one's a really hard one to find that balance in between. But just make sure that you're not keeping everything to yourself, that you're not refusing to talk about things, but that you're also not feeling like you cannot make a decision or do something without the approval or the opinions of others. Now, the last things that I had written down here are actually things that I either have talked about before already or that I want to do an entire other episode on. So I had written down here, scheduling your time, which I have another episode on, so I will include that if I remember. getting out of your comfort zone, which I think I will probably include with the other one, which is challenging your thoughts and really working on interpersonal skills. And that, I think, is actually where I'm going to leave it, because I think my plan is going to be to do an entire different episode on interpersonal skills. I have talked about communication before in one of the episodes, so I will include that, or you can look it up on my channel. But I do want to kind of almost make that a series, because it's something that I've been really interested in lately. So make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss that. And let me know if you guys liked this, of the kind of neuroscience stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys are interested in hearing. And I'll see you next time.